Grace is when you get more than you deserve. Mercy is when you don't get exactly what you do deserve.
Awesome. So how is it juggling being a dad and, a recording artist and a TV host? How do you juggle all of those things together?
Well, it has gotten a whole lot easier because my kids are older now, so it's not the babysitting vibe. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
They're doing their own thing. But when my son was coming up, I would just make sure that all of my traveling, all of my gigs, all of my concerts were always Thursday, Friday, or Saturday
Right.
because I wanted to be home all week for school. So I would take him and pick him up and all of that kind of stuff because he lived with me.
Okay.
So I didn't want to be always gone. And sometimes when I traveled, he would travel with me. So it was just able to work out like that.
Okay. Awesome. So do you ever find yourself where you're having to kind of, I would say, choose between, business and, being on the road versus family? Or do you, like you said, have that time where it balances itself out?
There are times when you have to choose between the two, but the choice has to be worth the choice. You know what
Hmm.
I'm saying? So if I am under contract, say with the McDonald's tour that I've been doing the last several years, if I'm under contract with them and at the beginning of the year they told me the dates that they need me and I've contracted for that, then you can kind of navigate your family to the point to where we don't plan anything on these days.
Right.
Or if it falls on, say, the day of graduation at the beginning of the year, I know that. So I tell McDonald's I can't do this date. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So it's all in kind of juggling everything and making sure everything works because family first. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? You can make all the money in the world, and if your family fails, then you still fail.
Understandable. That definitely explains it. So what made you start, let's start with the radio show. So what made you start that? Like what drive did you have to say, what, I think I want to start on, this journey?
I got to tell you, this was God's doing because I didn't necessarily want to be on the radio. When I started in Chicago, there was a station in Indiana, WYCA, that would let you just come on and pay for your own radio time and do what you wanted to do. At that time, that was the thing to do. So I paid for 2 hours every Saturday night from 10 to midnight. I was just on there having a good time. Didn't know what I was doing. But from that, WGCI in Chicago heard my show and they were starting a gospel side of WGCI and called me and asked me if I wanted to do it. So that's how I transitioned from paying for time to being paid to be on. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And from that, it moved to the morning show. I was on with Pastor John Hanna. Him and I had a morning show together for about 10 years. And then I moved to New Jersey. When I moved to New Jersey, I moved because the church that I minister music at moved me here.
Okay.
So I wasn't even thinking about radio. Ironically enough, that's when Yolanda Adams' show started coming on Radio 1,
Hmm.
and they moved the program director to Philadelphia. And guess who the program director was? The same boss that I had in Chicago. They moved
Gotcha.
to Philly. And that's how he ended up calling me to come and be on Radio 1. And then the show got syndicated. And it was just all kind of being put in place, being orchestrated by God because I didn't audition or, fill out an application, none of that kind of stuff. It was just kind of orchestrated.
Okay, that's awesome. It's kind of like you said, it just lined up perfectly for the bigger picture.
Yeah.
So, do you have what I call them overcoming object, like what would you say is your biggest struggle within this industry? Because of course the industry could be very big. So whether you're, on the road or you're doing this or you're doing that, what would you say is like your biggest challenge within the actual industry?
Um, One of the misconceptions about the industry is that it's big.
Hmm.
Once you're in it, the industry really is very small. Everybody knows everybody or connected to everybody in some way, form, or fashion.
Okay.
Much like life, you know what I'm saying? You can meet somebody and 3 years down the road figure out I know the same people you know, but I just didn't know you. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
So the industry from that perspective is kind of small, but the challenge I would say is you find a lot of people who are not comfortable being them.
Mhm.
So when you go out and somebody sings before you and then they introduce you, it is important that you come out and be you.
Right.
Don't be whatever seemed to have worked for them before you because that's not you. And a lot of people run into a problem with either coming before somebody or coming after somebody and performing with the mindset of what they think this person is going to do after them or what they did before them. And that's where you lose people because the audience always can detect something that's not authentic.
That is very true.
Yeah.
So would you say, as far as being you and being, authentic, have you ever experienced like that firsthand where, like, you've been, just say, like, at a concert, and one person's like acting one way, but then, like, behind the scenes you're just like, wait, that's something totally different? Like, have you ever experienced that firsthand?
Um, yeah, but I don't know that I would attribute it to them being phony.
Mhm.
There is a persona that you have to have on stage that is a persona for the masses. And it's usually bigger than you normally are backstage because backstage you are it's more intimate. So if I am having a conversation with Kurt and we're just talking, that person that I'm talking to normally will turn into somebody else for the big stage,
Right.
just so the person at the very back can experience, the anointing that's coming from the stage. You wouldn't talk to me like you would talk to a mass of people. So a lot of people sometimes will get that misconstrued and think that that comes across as phony because you weren't like that backstage.
Right.
Well, if we're backstage and it's just me and you, and I start hollering and screaming in your face, you're gonna be like, "You need to calm down.
Right.
This is way too extra for right now. Right? Say that for the stage."
Okay. All right. So, tell me a little bit about the group. So I know you had Lonnie, Hunter, and Structure. So is the group still in existence? You guys still doing music?
Still doing music. The last single that we put out was "Days of Elijah" featuring Vanessa Bell Armstrong,
Okay.
and it did extremely well. We were actually finishing up the new single when COVID-19 hit.
Okay.
So that's I'm just kind of waiting until we can get that many people into a studio again to finish that up. But in between that is when the TV show started. So we've still been kind of working.
Okay. So I just heard you say you have a TV show as well.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So tell us a little bit about that. That sounds exciting.
It is the Lonnie Hunter Variety Show. It is on Rama Television Network,
Okay.
Roku, Amazon TV, Android TV, and Comcast. It comes on every Thursday night at 7 o'clock, from 7 to 8 o'clock, and it's a variety show. So it's like a Jimmy Fallon show or an Ellen show. It's
Okay.
that kind of thing. So some people we have sing. There are comedians, there are actors, there are people who cook, barbers, beauticians. It's all over the place. Just because I wanted people to see that the kingdom that we do more than just go to church.
Mm-hmm.
We're good at more than just singing at church. And a lot of times when you see a Christian program, you already expect for people to be on there singing.
Yes.
But there's so many gifts that people are out here with that the church a lot of times don't embrace.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wanted to give a platform. And as of today, we just reached over 2 million viewers.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Congratulations. That's
it's been
awesome.
it's been a real ride. So when we finished season one, the pandemic hit, so
Mm-hmm.
we didn't finish season two. But between then, these networks called me and said, "Would you mind if we reran your season one?" So they contracted that, and we've been rerunning season one, featuring Jamal Bryant. Who else was on season one? Isabel Davis, Ernest Pugh. It's just a lot of good stuff. If you have not seen it up to now, you can go to my Facebook page and see the reruns of the show. It's
Okay.
hilarious. It is
Okay.
hilarious.
Awesome. Well, I'll definitely have to check that out. So for the show, if like for instance, someone just say they have a group or they have a special talent, they say, hey, I'm interested in maybe coming on the show. Do you have a platform where they're able to, or what's the actual steps that they would have to take to do that?
That platform will be reactivated soon as we start taping again. Um, because as much as we've gotten now for season 2 has been following me on the road or me doing an interview at Yolanda Adams' house. We have one and one at TD Jakes' house because I like to show people that you already know they can sing, so ain't no need of me asking them to sing.
Right.
We talk like we talk as friends, so
Mm-hmm.
you get to see another side of us as artists,
Okay.
just either at the gym or walking down the street or at her house, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So Lonnie Hunter Music at Gmail is my email address,
Mm-hmm.
and we have people send their submissions there. But that won't start again until season 2 gets wrapped.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll definitely keep that in mind. You never know, I might be popping through again and say, hey, I have a special talent. Let me go ahead and apply.
Holla at your boy! Holla at your boy!
But no, I actually do I'll definitely, like I said, keep that in mind, because within like my platform I try to also, incorporate other people, because I try to tell people, it's not just about me, it's not just about what I can do, because if I could do it all I would. But I
Yeah,
try to, outsource, and I try to, give people a platform where, they could tell their story, because it's not always about me. You know what I
right,
mean? So
right.
I that's why I try to, have a variety of different people that would like to come on and talk, because they may have a story that they don't know how to tell. So this is the
Excellent,
platform for them to do it. So
excellent,
um,
excellent.
I'll definitely slide back in the emails and start typing.
Let's do
So
it.
about the Get It Done segment, because like I said, that's actually how, I actually was introduced to more about who you are. So for the Get It Done segment, how exactly like does it work? So is it almost like how I did mine, where you just submit it, or is it more so like if you have like a special story, like how exactly does that work?
The Get It Done segment started about 5 years ago. Um, as it was during New Year's Eve service, and I was backstage at a concert. And before I went out, I kept hearing people tell about their New Year's resolutions.
Mm-hmm.
And when they announced my name on my way to the stage, God just talked to me and He said, "Tell the people, don't worry about resolutions. Tell them to just get it done."
Okay.
I thought that was for the people in that house, and God told me not these people,
Mm-hmm.
the people. And that's how I ended up bringing it to the radio, bringing it to wherever I went. My next CD was called Get It Done. The clothing line was called Get It Done. All of that came under that umbrella. Um, because now I have a family of Get It Done partners, which is people like you,
Right.
who every week they sit down and they write down what they want to have accomplished by Friday.
Right.
Because many people, when they have a goal, they see the goal and they see where they are right now,
Mm-hmm.
and they don't match.
Right.
So the goal seems insurmountable. So all I end up doing is sitting around thinking about what I would like to do and never taking steps towards doing it.
Right.
So the get part of it is easy. That's you figuring out what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
The done part is easy. That's you doing it.
Right.
But the smallest word in the equation, the it, is all the work.
Mm-hmm.
It's what you do on a day-to-day basis. You sit down on Monday, you figure out what you want to do by Friday, and only do that small weekly goal. And every week, you just take off a brick
Mm-hmm.
in the wall that separates you from where you are to where you want to be. And before you know it, you're doing exactly what you're doing.
Yeah.
You are getting it done. It becomes closer to you. It becomes doable. Now I can see it. Now I can do it because I've learned how to start an LLC. I learned how to do a business. I learned how to open up a shop. I learned how to, write a book or whatever it is you needed to learn.
Mm-hmm.
You did the homework, and now it's time for you to step into the favor.
Right. That was awesome. And I think that's too another thing that's especially big for me. I feel like being especially a young entrepreneur, and a lot of people, they put that kind of like statistic on us where you're young, you're going to be all over the place, you don't know exactly what you want to do. But I feel like if you really have a goal set in place of, you know, whether it's I don't want to have a 9 to 5 or I want to start something myself, I feel like it's more so us needing more so better role models, I'll say it that way, that actually can instill that in us to say, you know what, this is what you can do. And like I tell people, a lot of times people put their fears of what they didn't do onto you, so then you're just like, okay, I don't want to do it. So
Right.
that's why, you know, when I seen the Get It Done segment, I was like, that's awesome, because again, we really don't have that, and especially in my generation, we don't have that. So
Sure.
that's definitely definitely commendable, and I really appreciate it, because like I said, I feel like when that happened, I got so many people that called me within that first week of, I heard you on the Lonnie Hunter show. Like, what? I was like, I wasn't physically on it. I just sent him what I was doing. You know
Right.
what I mean? But it was more so like, I feel like with Delaware being so small, we have that name of, oh, they have nothing good going on. And I keep saying, I want to do something more that brings light of the positive that we can do. So like I
Yeah.
said, when they heard it, they were just like, how did you do that? I was just like, I just wrote him and told him this is what I was about to do, and he just announced it. So like I said, it was definitely something that was a good experience for me, because it's motivating me to keep getting it done.
Yeah.
So I
And that's what you need. A lot of times, that's what you need, is for somebody to actually hold you accountable.
mhm,
It's one thing to have it up here, but when you've told somebody and somebody has told somebody else, and you hear me say it over the radio, now you know everybody's expecting you to do it. It gives you that push to say, you know what? This ain't just about me anymore. I got to make sure this happens. I'm glad you said that, because the definition of you from your 20s to your 30s to your 40s to your 50s may change,
mhm,
but passion does not have an age. You are passionate about what you're passionate about. The
mhm,
way that comes to fruition may change, but
right,
you're still doing the same thing. So if you take me for instance, I'm passionate about people and performing and ministry.
mhm,
So the radio, the TV, the recording, being the minister of music, all of that can, if you want it to be one thing, I can just be a minister of music or just be on the radio. But if you have a passion, you can put all of the stuff that you know how to do under that passion umbrella
mhm,
and still grow, still evolve, still change. Because who I am now is not who I was at 20, but I still love to do the same stuff.
right. That's awesome. So do you currently have, well, before I get to that question, let me ask you this. When you were starting out, did you have any specific like inspirations as far as like someone that you looked up to that actually got you into it?
My mother, she passed when I was 9, but she was one of the background singers for the Caravans. Albertina Walker's my godmother, or was my godmother, before she passed.
Mhm.
So my mother is the one that pushed me into actually singing. I had no intentions on singing. I didn't want to do nothing. I didn't want to do none of that. But when she passed at 9, and this was very interesting, even at 9 years old, when I started, I just wanted to keep her name alive.
Mhm.
I didn't do it for me. I didn't do it because of my relationship with God, because it hadn't developed yet. But as I kept doing it because of the seeds she planted, that's how I am who I am now, because it grew into my own relationship with him. But had she not planted that seed, I wouldn't be here. I don't know where I'd be actually.
Right. That's, I like that. It's like as you're talking, I kind of relate it back to like myself. So like I'll use my dad as an example. Like my dad, he's a pastor. He also has a singing group. So a lot of people, when they see him, they see me. Regardless, I don't care if he's going to the grocery store, you see him, you see me.
Yeah,
And I think that's what, at this point I pride myself on, is making sure that God forbid one day when he does, pass, that I'll still be able to carry that mantle by saying, you know what, Dad, I got it. You know what I
yeah,
mean? So I think that's why now it's just like, it's like a grind time right now, where it's just making sure everything is lined up.
yeah,
So that's why, I always ask people, well, what was your inspiration to do this, or your inspiration to that? Because everybody's, of course, it might be different, but at the same time, if you have a goal, the goal is always going to be to succeed.
Absolutely. You are right on the right track. Because one of the things that people don't understand is my it and get it done, my it is not your it.
Hmm.
Your it is not my it. So I can't compare myself to you and decide that you are better or worse than I am.
Right.
You just have a different it. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like when people go to the gym and you see somebody at the gym that is what you think you want to be. So all you do is you watch them, but you never work towards what you're going to be because you're
Right.
so busy watching them. You know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
Take your eyes off of whatever it is you think somebody else is doing, put it on what God has called you to do, and just do you. And I'm
Exactly.
telling you, that's the best you will ever become is the you that's comfortable being you.
That is the truth. So at this point, with the music and everything, do you have someone specific that you would like to work with?
Ooh, I've almost worked with pretty much everybody over the years, not worked with in the studio, but either been on tour with or done collaborations on stage with or backed them up with a choir or whatever. I don't know. Well, the person I would love to do something with is not gospel. So I don't know if you want to take that turn, but I love all of the gospel. But a lot of times when you get into this gospel industry and people become your friends, you
Uh-huh.
look at them differently than you would as a fan. And you say, I
Right.
really work with that person. So the people I would really like to work with, I am a fan of.
Uh-huh.
Because in my head, I'm married to Janet Jackson. That's who my wife is in my head. But we know that ain't about to happen. But I would love to work with her. I would love to work with Bruno Mars. That kind of vibe for me.
Okay. There's nothing. It's nothing wrong with it. They cross over all the time.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
I definitely I could see that. So I mean, as you tell us, get it done. Put that out there. You never know what could happen. You never know who could open a door for you and put that out there for you. So um it definitely is doable as long as you do it the right way. I say it that way. And I say
Yeah,
that even with my own self. I can't stress that enough of doing it the right way because you never know who knows who. You never know what door could be open for you.
yeah,
You know, I feel
absolutely.
like within like maybe the past, I would say month, I just feel like everything has just been changing. I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead. Let's change the hair. Let's just change. I'm like, it's like finally everything is coming to where I need it to be. So and
Yeah.
it's because of the get it done.
Wow. I'm honored.
It
I
really
am honored. To
Yeah,
God be the
it
glory.
really is. And it was crazy because like I said, when I first did it and I sent it into you, and I was just like, one in the back of my head, I'm saying, I don't think he gonna read this. I was like, but I'm just gonna go ahead and just submit it anyway. And you ready? You was just like, okay, I'm gonna go ahead and put it on the show. And I'm just like, I'm sorry, what? It was just, it was different.
So did you
So
write me when I was on Radio One or with Reach Gospel Radio that
it
I'm
was
on
for
now?
Reach Gospel Radio.
Got it.
Yep.
Got it.
Yep. And I remember when I sent it in, and I was just like, okay, I'm okay. If he sees it, and then you actually responded, say, okay, you're gonna hear it tomorrow. So I was just like, okay, let me download the app. So then I was waiting, and I was just like, okay, the show's almost over. I don't think he's gonna do it. And then you said it, and I was like, oh my gosh, like it was mind blowing. So I was just like, wow, like if that could happen, I could just only imagine the things that are to come.
Yeah.
So, and then right after that, I would say maybe 2 weeks after that is when I did the big launch for the PR agency. So I
Sure.
was just like, I just know at this point, it was just nothing but God that was just telling me, take that step and keep going.
That's a blessing. That is a real blessing.
Yeah.
You made my day, little lady. You made my day.
Listen, you don't understand how much you blessed me just by this small conversation. So again, I appreciate you more than you know, and I will continue to follow the journey that you have because that's what's needed. We need more people that are vocal and that are bold enough to say
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
is what it is.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I
Of
appreciate
course,
that.
of course. But I appreciate you. So before I let you go, just go ahead and tell the people where they can follow you on social media.
All my social media is Lonnie Hunter Music, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, all of that. But I do have another page on Facebook that's just Lonnie Hunter, and that's the page where you can see all the reruns from the current show that's been running.
Okay.
And actually, every Thursday I do a watch party of the show that's coming up. So next Thursday has Jamal Bryant on it, and uh, I'm in Atlanta with the McDonald's. You will love it. I promise you, you will love it.
Okay.
So every Thursday you can catch me at 7 o'clock, or you can follow me on Instagram. Like I answered you, I will connect with people when they hit me up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Lonnie Hunter Music on Instagram.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yes. Anybody want to be real in the house and just apologize?